Welcome to another ActionScript 3.0 Flash video tutorial with Flash CS6. Get started by creating a new ActionScript 3.0 document. And what this video is going to be about is health bars. So I'm going to go and stroll on down to my H drive, and I'm going to save this as my name dash health bar. And the very first thing that we need to do is create our health bar. And now this part is fairly straightforward. We have to do a little bit of tweaking, but here's how it works. Use your rectangle tool. We need to have some kind of stroke, so I'm going to use a black stroke. And I'm going to make it 5 stroke of 5 so that it has a width of 5. And then I'm going to make my paint bucket, or my fill, excuse me, red. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw a shape that I kind of would think would be a health bar sort of shape. And notice how mine is a little rounded. If you play with these settings on the top right here on the join part, you probably want miter or miter. I still don't know how to pronounce that, but that'll give you perfectly square corners. And now if I draw this again, there we go. I got something that I like. So what I need to do is select this whole little thing here, tap F8 to turn it into a movie clip. So make sure it's a movie clip, registration in the center. And the name I want to give it is, let's call it health bar. So once we go inside of it here, we need to do a few more things. So I'm going to click on the edge of my health bar where I have the stroke or the outline. And what I need to do is click on one side and then hold shift, click on each little segment so I have just the outline and not the center, and press Control X to cut it, or just right click and press cut, and make a new layer. Call that layer, we'll say outline. Okay, and I'll lock my layer 1 just to make sure I don't accidentally put it there. So with outline selected, I'm gonna right click, paste in place. The shortcut for that is Control Shift V. And now I have my outline on a separate layer. And once I've done that, I can go ahead and lock that and unlock my layer 1. So let's call this hit bar. So we have outline and hit bar, or I guess let's just call this bar. I don't know why I called it hit bar, but we have bar. And now if we select this, actually let's hide outline. So make sure we have all of our bar selected. I'm going to tap F8, turn that into a movie clip, and now we'll call this, I don't know, bar. Call it bar, why not? And what I need to do now is give this an instance name. So I'm going to give this an instance name of bar with a lowercase b. And now we have our outline and our bar. And our bar is a movie clip, our outline is just a drawing shape. So if we go back into our main stage, I'm going to align this to the horizontal center. I'm going to rename this layer to health bar, and I need to give this an instance name also of, I'm going to say health bar. So lowercase h, capital B, health bar. And once that's done, we pretty much have everything in terms of graphics set up for creating our health bar. So now we just need to do the code part. So make a new layer, call it actions, and lock that layer so we don't accidentally draw anything on it, and go into actions. The very first thing we need to do is add an event listener. So normally I just say, actually we need to add an event listener for clicking on our health bar. So we'll say, oops, back into our actions, health bar dot add event listener mouse event dot click. We're going to listen for click, and then we want to say do damage, and we haven't made that function yet, so we'll have to do that. But listen or click on health bar. Let's create that function do damage. So we'll say function do damage. We're expecting the type mouse event. Where's it? Mouse event. And we're not returning anything, so then we say void. And then we need the body of our function, which is the pair of curly brackets or braces. So now that we have that, we need a couple more variables. We'll say var max health. It'll be a number. And to start, we'll just set that equal to 100. So this will be the maximum number of health the player can have. And then we also want to say var current health. That'll be a number. And to start, we'll also just set it to, well, we'll just set it to max health to start. So it'll be whatever we set max health to. So in this case, it'll be 100. This will be how much health the player currently has. What else do we need? We're also going to need how much damage the enemy can do. So let's do that. How much damage the enemy can do. And it'll be var. It'll be called enemy damage. It'll be a number. And let's just say, ooh, what do we want? We can say 10 for now, right? Or, yeah, we'll say 10. So when we do damage, what we want to do is say current health minus equals enemy damage. So we'll say subtract damage from health. And then how do we actually generate our health bar and change the size of it? We'll figure it this way, right? Our health bar, if we have full health, is 100%, right? So if current health is 100 and max health is 100, it's 100%. And half health would be what? 50? So that's 50%. And we can use the scale X property to kind of use this to our advantage. So what we're going to do is we're going to say health bar dot scale X is going to equal whatever our current health is divided by whatever max health is. Okay, so scale X will be a percentage of max health. And I'll show you what I mean by that. But every time we click on our mouse, or sorry, on our health bar, we'll do damage. We'll subtract the amount of damage we specified up here, and then we'll change the health bar's scale on the X, which is left and right, in order to display that we've actually lost some health. So let's test this out. I click, I lose a little chunk, keep clicking, keep clicking, keep clicking, keep clicking, click, 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 and then eventually it goes away and starts coming back up, and then it goes on forever. So there are two problems. One is maybe it really depends on how you want your health bar to work, but normally health bars go from you know, left to right or right to left, but if I click here, you see that it takes off from both sides. And maybe that's what you want, but that's not quite exactly what I want. And the reason why that's happening is because I set my center point of my, where is this? Of my bar, where are you, bar? Of my bar to be in the middle. You can see that in the library. So I need to change that registration point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the outline for now because I don't need it. I'm going to select bar from inside health bar. I'm going to break it apart so that it turns back into a shape object. Okay. I'm going to get rid of this bar that I have in the library because they're no longer linked because I broke them apart. And I'm going to create bar again. So I'm going to select everything in bar, tap F8. This time I'm going to put the registration point to the left, and I'm going to give this the name of bar again, and then the instance name of lowercase bar. Okay? So now my registration point is over here on the left. And now my outline still lines up. Cool. So I save, and then I run this again. I click, and now you see it only comes off on the right side. If I click anywhere else, it doesn't happen. So click, 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 click. But now you see it goes off to the left. Why is that? Well, in our code, we never did anything to check to see if our current health is below 0. So if our current health becomes negative, then our scale X will start becoming negative, and then we're showing something on the wrong side of the bar. So all we need to do is fix this. To fix this is check to see if our current health is less than 0. So before we set the scale of our bar, we need to check to see if current health is less than 0. We want to set it to 0. Current health equals 0. So prevent health from going negative. So save that, run it again, and now you can see you can click as much as you want, and now it doesn't go off the edge. Pretty cool. But what else could we do with this? Well, we could have something do game over, or we could have it reset. But basically, it's up to you. You can use the health bar in a variety of different ways. I'm going to have one that actually resets, I guess, and we can say maybe subtract lives or whatever, but for now I'm just going to show you how to get it to reset. So if our current health is 0 or less than 0, then we would need to reset our health bar, right? Set it back to 100. And right now what we have here is only checking for it's less than 0. So if we happen to perfectly get on 0, we're not going to reset our health bar. So we say current health is less than or equal to 0, then we just want to set current health equal to max health. So what we're doing here is prevent health from going negative, and refill health bar when depleted. And let's push this down here in a new comment. So there we go. So now when it gets to 0 or below 0, you should see it jump back to the top. So click, 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 click. And it's a little weird because there's nothing in the background here. So if we were to, if we were to click on this point in the center here, there's nothing there. There's nothing to register the click, and that's kind of messed up. But we keep clicking, and now you see it, when we get to 10, the last 10, it goes to 0, and then it jumps back up to the top. So we can do this forever. Now, quick little thing you can do to make it a little nicer, besides just this white see-through background, which, well, it's not white technically, it's just there's nothing there. Let's go into our health bar and create a background layer. So I'm going to make a new layer, drag it below bar, and I'm going to call this BG. All right, and what we're going to do is unlock bar, select, where is that here? We want to select, let's hide outlines just so we can see. We want to select bar, our movie clip, copy it, and then we can lock that layer and even hide it. Click on BG, right click, paste in place. So now we have another copy of bar, which is kind of a problem. So what we need to do with this is break it apart. So right click on it, break apart, and now we just have the shape object, which is what we want. So let's pick a slightly darker red, so we don't really have one. So let's go ahead and go to our color wheel from the paint bucket. And let's just drag this down a little bit so it's darker red, and there we go. So once that's done, I'm going to lock that layer, and we can show the other ones now. But if we run, whenever we lose health, that darker red will kind of show in the background. It looks more along the lines of actually getting depleted versus just having a transparent background. And if this not going directly to 0 kind of bugs you, you could theoretically, which would probably be a bad idea, get rid of this less than. So if we save now, when it gets to 0, you can see that it actually does get completely empty. And depending on what you're trying to do, you'd have to play with what numbers you want to use, but most instances you want this to be less than or equal to 0. So there you have it. There's a very basic health bar. In order to implement this on a player, you just call the do damage function instead of from a mouse click event, but maybe from whenever, you know, something hits it, or whenever you press a button, or something along those lines. But there you go, quick and simple, nice and easy, and it's pretty